the reason that Cash Patel is still back there sweating his ass off is because they don't have to just get it from them. There's more information than what the Department of Justice has that they're covering up.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I actually went through the files this weekend in depth. Donald Trump is not only named over and over in them, it is discussed this trial in which he was accused of raping a 13-year-old at Epstein's house. There is extensive discussions about a subpoena of Donald Trump in one of Jeffrey Epstein's cases in which he was accused for rape and sexual abuse. He was subpoenaed and gave a deposition in that case. There is extensive discussion between Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Mr. Wolf about not only Trump coming to his house, but Epstein says in these emails that he has photographs of Trump with girls.
Damn, that's not good. Matter of fact, it's all the stuff that we'd heard about and seen before. There's been plenty of victims that come forward and talk about the disgusting things that Donald Trump has done to them. There's been lawsuits. There's been judgments. Donald Trump has lost a lot of cases surrounding his predatory behavior. Let's put it that way. They're shaking in their boots. Donald Trump is sweating his ass off. It's why he continues to be so mad and lash out, because the information isn't always coming from where he controls it. Sarah Longwell talks about that.
The trove of emails that we got were not from what the DOJ and FBI have. They were from the Epstein estate. And I do wonder what else is in the Epstein estate. Like, that's where we got the birthday card. That's where we got these troves of emails. So part of what I think has got them probably panicking a little bit is they don't know what's just sitting around in boxes somewhere that could implicate him, that are from long time ago. And that stuff could continue to come out, and Democrats can continue to get it out.
Videotapes.
Yep.
Like, just videotapes of him being around, like, is really embarrassing.
Don't forget that birthday card thing that they denied right after then it was confirmed, and then they decided to say, oh, well, yeah, we were just playing. They've been exposed so many times for trying to cover things up that they have no control over. This is when it's getting worse. More attention and eyes are on this. I don't know to what degree the Epstein estate is giving them more information. Maybe that's where Representative Stansbury got her information from, about the potential videos and pictures and accounts and accusations from children about Donald Trump, as they try and flood the zone, talking about how everyone that met Donald Trump said that he was on the up and up. No, they didn't. Absolutely not. Stop accepting that lie. Tara Palmieri also talks about some of the horrible things that happened, but also the reason why there could be a treasure trove of information that Pam Bondi can't control.
Even when they raided his house before the first arrest in Palm Beach, they took out tons of video footage. The survivors that I've talked to have said that they always felt like they were being recorded. If you look inside the New York Times article, when they just did an entire expose on his house, you saw cameras everywhere, and even in the bedrooms. He was running a almost KGB style blackmail operation.
I remember, I don't know if you guys saw this. I don't think it got tons of attention, but it was fascinating to me. A few months ago, there was this long, extensive expose into Jeffrey Epstein's New York house, flat, whatever the hell it was. It was big. And they went through all the artwork that was inside, the motif, the setup of the rooms, the massage room upstairs, and all that stuff where a lot of these assaults happened. Mounted on a corner above the bed was a surveillance camera, is what that photo shows. You see the circle above at the top. There's a surveillance camera that's over the bed and is in the bedroom area. And then also the article pointed out that this is now nearby, near the spa area where massages were held. More pictures of the adjoining room that was next to that bedroom. As you can see, the motif is quite similar. There was a second camera that can be seen in this room as well. I'm not sure if it's on the back end, if it takes other angles and shots of what it is that's going on in this room. Everything was getting recorded. So people that have this belief that Jeffrey Epstein, part of his motivation was that he worked with some intel agencies and internationally and basically blackmailed tons of people, have a lot of reasons to believe that, because there was cameras everywhere. And also people are acting really weird in positions of power right now and trying to cover this up and trying to not talk about it, or in trying to lie over and over again about it. One of those people, obviously, is getting nailed here by Representative Jasmine Crockett.
This is the President of the United States standing beside his best friend, Jeffrey Epstein. As we all know, Mr. Epstein is one of the most notorious sexual predators in American history. For 8 weeks, the Republicans on this committee have chosen to protect these two men instead of providing justice to Mr. Epstein's victims. Now the administration is panicking. First, they campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. Then AG Bondi and Associates did a photo op with the files, and she said, and I quote, "The Epstein list is on my desk." Then somehow the Epstein list didn't exist. Then the Epstein files became a Democratic hoax. Now the president is supposedly supportive of releasing the files, even though he's currently ignoring a congressional subpoena to do so. Now the president is simply crashing out. And it's because he can't seem to explain his special decades-long relationship with one of the most prominent sexual predators in American history. It's already public that he's in the Epstein files, but his administration is hiding the context of his involvement, if any, with Mr. Epstein's horrific crimes.
It's good sometimes to go back through. That was just some of the excuses and the history just of this year of them working really hard to, one, promote this whole thing. Then after they seen what's in it, and Donald Trump knew the whole time, which is kind of odd on top of it, then try to backpedal and talk about how it's someone else, to close the investigation, then start it back up, to say that we actually didn't want these files out, to then say that we did. But actually, once these files are out, we can't have these folks' names be in there, because their names being in it means that they're going to get re-victimized. Not the victims, but the perpetrators. Like, they're all over the place. It's actually really hard to keep track of. I've left off many things, I'm sure, as well, too. With the explanation, no matter what, no matter how ridiculous this whole thing seems, is, again, this is one big hoax. But the way that Caroline Levitt put it here, that it's specifically a certain city's type of hoax, I'm not sure how it works.
But if you look at how this Epstein story sort of evolved over the past week, it's classic Washington hoax.
Yes.
You have Democrats on the Oversight Committee leaking redacted information to their favorite reporter at CNN, who then pops the story with that redacted information and does not reveal that the unredacted version is available. And the unredacted version proves that the so-called victim in this email is a woman who is unfortunately deceased, but prior to her death said on numerous occasions that President Trump never did anything wrong and was always incredibly friendly in her interactions with him. And so it's a purposeful leak to try to manufacture this news cycle to drag the president. And we've seen this play out so many times. It is a classic playbook of the Democrats using their friends in the fake news to spin up a narrative about the president. This idea that there's files that the DOJ is hiding or that this administration is not being transparent is just totally false. It's a fallacy. And I understand people have questions, and when you're on the outside, you're skeptical of government, and people should be. But there is literally nothing to hide, and President Trump has maintained that this entire time. And so, again, this is a classic playbook being run by the Democrats.
Classic Washington Democrat playbook of a hoax. And your only defense is Donald Trump has been steadfast in lying that he knows nothing about this, that he's completely uninvolved. Well, that is after he had mentioned before, Mike Johnson said, his mouthpiece said that Donald Trump was the whistleblower. He blew the lid off this whole thing, told on Jeffrey Epstein. How is it he knew nothing about this if he was also the whistleblower? That is before Mike Johnson took it back when someone asked him for details of what it is he was talking about. They're flailing. They're all over the place. They're afraid. And I understand that. Protecting pedophiles is kind of stressful, because people might realize that you just might be one,